So this week I want to think about using triad pairs on my 6-string bass. So I've done 2 different videos on triad pairs before, both on 4-string bass and both using just major triads. This week I want to open it up to look at all different types of triads, so minor triads, augmented triads, diminished triads, and also combining different types of triads. So if I start with 2 minor triads, the easiest way to think about it is as chords 2 and chord 3 in a major key. So if we're in the key of C major, for example, chord 2 is D minor, so I can use a D minor triad, and chord 3 is E minor, so I can use an E minor triad, and I can use those 2 triads, D minor and E minor, to make lines in that key. So it'll sound something like this. So that's a really obvious way to use 2 minor triads. A less obvious way would be to use a C7 chord. So C7 rather than C major 7. And then I can create an altered scale sound with a D flat minor triad and an E flat minor triad. So instead of D minor and E minor, I'm using D flat minor and E flat minor. It will sound something like this. Now, I can also combine different types of triads. So, for example, I can create that same altered scale sound using an E augmented triad and a G flat major triad. Now, there's a big connection between triad pairs and hexatonic scales. So hexatonic scales are just scales that have 6 notes in them. So if you can find 2 triads that give you 6 different notes, then you can put those notes together to make a hexatonic scale. So let's take a kind of simple example, which would be if you take 2 augmented triads a tone apart, say for example C augmented and D augmented, then that gives you all of the notes of a C whole tone scale. So the whole tone scale goes on C would sound something like this. Now that's just all of the notes of the C augmented triad and the D augmented triad together. Okay? Now another one that you could use using augmented triads would be what's called the augmented scale. Now that would be taking 2 augmented triads that are a semitone apart. So for example B and C. Now if I'm looking for something to play on a C major 7 chord and I want to play something that's not really obvious, something that contains a few outside notes, it's a little bit uncomfortable, this augmented scale can be a good option. So that's just C augmented triad and B augmented triad. So there's so many different ways that you can combine 2 triads to get 6 different notes and create all these different ideas that you can use in so many different contexts. There's no way I can possibly go through all of the ideas. I don't even know them all myself anyway. So it's just to give you some ideas to practice. So practice some of the ones that I've come up with and also take the ideas away and see if you can come up with your own as well.